Hi there. Welcome to episode 3 of the You Teach UTRGV video podcast. For this episode, I really want to discuss the concept of establishing a routine. Since you guys are going to be out there in the field every day, respectfully 8 to 4, you're going to have to establish a routine because you're going to spend most of your day at work. So, how do you fit in other stuff going on in your life? Some of you have children, so you got to get your kids to daycare or you got to get them to school. You got to feed them. You want to get dressed. You want to look nice. So you got to get up earlier. You got travel time and traffic. These are the things that everybody deals with once they have a real profession. These are things I have to consider because of the fact that I live in Edinburgh, but I work in Brownsville. So I have to plan all these things, and somehow it needs to work out. But one of the things you need to do is not just plan, but plan your freedom, okay? So when are you going to get to work? When are you going to leave work? And what are you going to do with the time in between? Well, that's hard to predict. It really is. So one of the best things you can do is think about your schedule, think about how long it takes you to get to work, and think about how long it's going to take you to do anything in general. For example, make food, maybe small things that you just don't think about. Where are you going to fit in shopping for groceries? Where are you going to fit in all these things? So how do you do this? Well, first of all, let me give you some advice. You should start the day by getting up early. Oh, I know you don't want to hear that, getting up early. What do I mean by early? I seriously mean like 6 a.m., maybe even earlier. The reason I say that is because I want you to start the day selfishly. I want you to start the day doing something for yourself. For example, I tend to get up at 5:45 and I usually walk my dog. But on some days, I'll go for a run and I'll run maybe about 3 miles before I come home, take a shower, get dressed, eat breakfast, and I'm usually out the door depending on when I need to leave. Now, maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you don't want to work out, but maybe you can go for a walk. Or maybe you really enjoy reading and you want to read a chapter in your book. But do something for yourself. Don't do anything work related. Do something for yourself. Be selfish about the first 30, 45 minutes of the day. Okay? And then you can get ready for work and you can do everything you need to do. Now, I know that's not going to work for a lot of people because some people have to take care of their kids and get their kids ready. But if you don't have that responsibility, be selfish. Do something for yourself. And you know what? Preparing your kids breakfast or getting your kids ready for school, that's being selfish, but in a good way. Keep in mind, that's what I'm really trying to say here. Be positively selfish for you. And the reason you're going to want to do this is because the day is going to be taken up a majority at the school, and students can walk in with different attitudes and different behaviors. You might be having a great day, but a student may not. So at least in the beginning of the day, you got to dictate how your day was going to go. So once you do whatever it is that you want to do in the morning, you can head to work. My recommendation is get to work early. Honestly, a lot of teachers like to stroll in about 20 minutes before work starts. But if you can get in early, you can be in work mode. You can start making copies, preparing your lesson, getting things where they need to be, making sure the calculators are working. And in case something bad happens, you have time to fix it. It's also going to help you to avoid some traffic depending on how far you have to drive. Then you go through your day. You should have planned your day, at least on paper with a lesson planner. Go through your day. Try to squeeze in things for yourself when you can. Maybe checking your email whenever you have a conference. But definitely when you're at work, work. Don't be idle on anything. So from 8 a.m. to 2:30 or 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, depending on how your schedule is, work. You're there to work, okay? But afterwards, after work, this is where some people have issues with this. Try not to take work home. Try to go home, leave work at work. You might be thinking about your kids. You might be thinking about what you got to do tomorrow, but try your best to leave work at work. And I'll show you some ideas and I'll show you how I used to do things like that. But you want to work from 8 to 4, but after that, you really want it to be for you. Spend time with your kids. Relax. If you're taking work home, that's going to make for a difficult life, okay? However, it's going to be a reality that you're going to have to take work home sometimes. You're not always going to be able to leave everything at work. But if at least 3 or 4 days out of the week you can come home and just have your time, it's going to make for a better experience. But you can only do that if you have a schedule and you have everything planned out. So think about what I just told you. In the morning, you exercised, you read, you played guitar, you went for a walk, you spent time with your kids. You were positively selfish for the first part of the day. So if the entire day was great, you at least started great and the entire day was great too. However, what if you started great and the day was just horrible? The kids didn't want to listen. There was 3 fire drills, all kinds of problems. Well, at least you started the day for yourself and you started the day very well. And at the end of the day, when you're tired, you got the workout out of the way. When you're tired, you at least know that when you're just sitting there exhausted, you know that the job didn't take everything from you. This leads to a balanced life, and it's very important that you start now. It's very important that you do that now, because if you start getting sluggish, you are going to be that teacher you don't want to become 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now. So it's just some advice. Remember, what works for me may not work for you, but definitely start planning everything and your schedule. When are you going to do things? Remember, it's a job, and it's a passion. We want you to be passionate about it. But we don't want it to ever obsess your life. We don't ever want it to dictate everything in your life. You need to balance that out to keep you sane, okay? So that's just my input for episode 3. I really hope you guys take it to heart and you start thinking about how am I going to balance what I want and what I need to do. But remember, make sure that everything embedded in all that is that you're going to be helping our students, okay? So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in episode 4.